Thank you very much, Homer Rabara. Right now, I'm being joined by a pair of very special guests. Ken Levine, how you doing, sir?
I'm awesome. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you have the voiceless, nameless Walt over there. I guess you're not nameless, but
he does not speak.
Yeah, Irrational
He's
Games.
not mic'd, at least.
Yes. Bioshock. Walt, you just stay right there. You got the controller. Walt was actually taking a little nap earlier today, but right now he's going to play some Bioshock for us while we talk about it. Gamespot's E3 Game of Show, 2006. That's right. You're back again, and here it is. Ken, take us to Rapture.
So where we are here is we're in a level called Arcadia, and this is around 7 hours into the game, and the player, or Walt in this case, has really gotten a lot of his tools rolling, and that's why we're trying to show it as compared to the beginning of the game. We're just sort of trying to train the player.
Right.
And this is an underwater city, as you know, and this is Arcadia is an underwater forest in this city.
Cool.
And it was originally a theme park where people would go and take their families and pay to get in because, hey, trees at the bottom of the ocean. And what's going on here is that Andrew Ryan, the antagonist of the game, is trying to kill poor Walt here because he thinks he's either a CIA or a KGB agent coming to take his city away from him.
All right.
And what he's done is he's killed all the trees in the city, using the fold in the city, and you're like, well, so what if he killed all the trees? Well, all the oxygen comes to the trees.
I was about to say, you need some air.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so what Walt's doing is he's created something using the game's invention system to called the Lazarus Vector. And the Lazarus Vector, like the name implies, will bring the trees back to life. And now he's just put it into this machine, and the Lazarus Vector is being distributed, but as you can see right here, Ryan is sending people in to stop him from distributing the Lazarus Vector, and Walt's setting up a defensive perimeter. And he's got all these amazing tools in Bioshock. He just used his basic tools to like shoot people before. You can see these spices are coming in, and now Walt's going to drop a proximity mine on the. Well, first he's going to put a trap bolt down, which is this sort of electrical wire. Then he can drop some a proximity mine up on the wall there, and then in a second he's going to head back into the other room. Go to the medical machine, which normally the enemies can run and heal themselves at, or you can heal yourself at.
Right.
But if he hacks it, they'll run to the machine and get poisoned by that machine, which is really cool. It's a real, it's a real FU to the splicers. He's also going to drop use proximity mines on the ceiling here. Drop some cyclone traps on the ground, so they'll fly up into the ceiling and then hit the cyclone trap and hit the proximity mine. There's all these amazing things you're doing. That's what this demo is about. It's sort of using the environment, using the enemies. Everything in Bioshock's a weapon. And there's a Big Daddy and little sister walking by.
And they don't care.
They won't bother you if you don't bother them. But you can use them. You can use them to your advantage. You see, he's going to the vent to get a little sister out to, and they'll just walk around and do their thing.
This game is amazing. I don't even know where to start asking questions. There's so many toys. Tell us. Let's start with the invention system. How do you make stuff? How do you learn to make stuff? Where do you find the stuff to make things with?
There they come.
Nice.
You see, that person just got clotheslined by the electrical wire, and this guy's going to come in, get thrown into the ceiling, and get blown up. The invention system is really cool. It's very similar to crafting systems in games, but unlike there are certain ammo types. He's reactivating that. Sorry, I keep getting distracted.
No, you get distracted. We're all distracted.
He reactivated that bot who's now going to fight for him because he hacked into it before. The invention system lets you. There's 8 weapons in the game, 6 of which are fully modifiable, and 6 of which you have 3 different ammo types for each, including one that you have to invent. You can invent things that help you hack, that give you a free hack on various machines. Like he just hacked that medical machine, and you see that turret opening up on that guy now. They hacked. So Walt's hacked this whole place to his advantage. You can make hack tools that help you out if you're not very good at the hacking game. You can instead use the invention system and the resources you find to make tools where you can hack, get a free hack on things. This whole quest actually, where he made the Lazarus Vector, is done through the invention system. So it's one of those lots of, Bioshock is, the goal was always make an amazing first-person shooter, but give the player a ton more to do than you'll find in other games.
Awesome, and it guides you along the way for like some key stuff. I'm guessing, like the Lazarus.
Yeah. Another thing about the game, because we're making a game that has so much depth to it, there's a huge amount of systems to make sure the player sort of gets what's going on. We have a dynamic training system that sort of watches you like your buddy. When you play a game with your buddy,
right? And
you're totally being a spaz, and he's like, hey, you moron, do this or do that. You have a system that actually watches you to make sure you're not totally like being an idiot, not understanding how to play the game. But you can turn off if you don't want that help.
Anytime you're telekinetically carrying around someone upside down, lit on fire, are playing the game correctly.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You can actually take a dead body that's not that. Oh yeah, catch those grenades a lot if you can. You can use telekinesis to catch the enemy's grenades that he's tossing at you. Oh, he died. The Big Daddy died. We previously nerfed that Big Daddy to make sure Walt didn't totally get his ass kicked by him. Yeah, you can even pick up a dead body with telekinesis, hold it over an existing fire, and then it will catch fire. Fire behaves as you'd expect it to. Walt, in a second, probably light somebody up with incinerate. They'll throw themselves into a body of water and you need to put out the fire, and then Walt can zap the water with 1,000 volts of electricity, and the water will conduct electricity. Everything in Bioshock behaves as you'd expect it to behave. And what does that mean for the player?
It means everything behaves awesomely.
Everything is awesome. You know, it behaves awesomely in Bioshock, but it also it means that the player can totally start making his own strategies, improvise, because things are going to work, you know, sort of as they expect them to, which we think is very cool. Oh, Walt's heading out. The security camera up there. He got spotted by it. Some bots are going to come in. Make a little trouble for Walt here, along with some splicers. Lights some of them on fire. You see that the fire spreads from one to the next. It's just a game that I find, you know, one of the journalists said to me who played the game said, I'm really happy you guys can save anywhere, because not only am I going to save, you know, like you normally save, but I just want to play sequences over and over again to play them, to try totally different strategies.
Try different things. Yeah. Maybe this time I won't set them on fire. Maybe I'll just pick them up and throw them around a little bit.
Yep. And I think that adds a huge amount of replayability to the game, and really gives really lets every player express themselves and play the game differently. It's the kind of thing you sit around the water cooler the next day and go, oh, how do you do it? I did that way. You know, I did this way. And you know, let people argue about which strategy is better.
Cool. We're seeing a lot of abilities, powers, whatever you want to call them, popping up in the lower left-hand corner there. Electro Bolt 3, Incinerate, Telekinesis, Achievement Unlocked.
Oh, you just unlocked? Nice, Walt.
Nicely done, Walt.
I think that's the first time we've ever unlocked achievement in a demo. So there you go.
You saw it here, folks.
So here, it's a scoop.
Scoop, total scoop. How do you get these abilities? Obviously, you're 7 hours into the game. Are there more to get from here? Because it already looks like you can kick anyone's ass for the next 15 or so hours, however long the game goes on.
Of course, the enemies get tougher too. So, yeah, how you get them is there's, you know, we have this system. The genetic abilities are gotten through a system. You find this genetic material called Atom, and the exclusive way you get the Atom is from the little sisters in the world, and that means you got to take on the Big Daddies. And once you do that, and you get the Atom from the little sisters, you go to these, you go to the Gatherer's Garden machine. Maybe you can find a Gatherer's Garden machine around. You go to a Gatherer's Garden machine, which are these cool 50s style vending machines with a little sort of an idealized little sister on them. And you buy your genetic upgrades from there, and you can buy new powers. You can extend your health bar, extend your Eve bar, which is that blue sort of mana-ish bar there. Here's the Gatherer's Garden machine, and this is a very old build, so there's some wackiness. So just step out for a second, Walt, and you can see there's some graphical glitches there, but you can see the Gatherer's Garden machine. Those little sisters standing there.
And so you have to go through the little sisters to get the Atom?
Yeah, it's the only way. Now, but Bioshock's also a game about, not just about game about player choice, it's a game about moral choice. And there's sort of, you know, two characters talking to you in this world. One of them who's been your friend and your guide, Atlas, who's saying, those little sisters, they're not people, they're not children, they're not people. They're monsters, and they carry the Atom, and if you're going to survive, and Atlas says if he's going to survive and his wife and child who are trapped down there are going to survive, you're going to have to get the as much Atom as you can from Little Sisters and upgrade yourself just to survive, and help him rescue his wife and child. And then you have another character, Tenenbaum, who appears, Dr. Tenenbaum, and she says, no, they are children. They're just trapped in this sort of mutated form, and you have to rescue them. You have to turn them back into little girls, and that's the only right thing to do. And Atlas says to you, we're going to listen to her? She's the one who made them in the first place. And that's the truth. And so you have this whole gray moral quandary, and not just the story path is different depending on which way you go, and you can always go back and forth between the different paths. How you grow your character is going to change, because all she says to you is, if you rescue them, you'll get a little bit of Atom, but I'll make it worth your while somehow. And that's all she says to you. And you have to take a leap of faith. Maybe you take a leap of faith. Maybe she's telling you the truth. Maybe, hey, she's the one who made these things in the first place. Who knows who to believe?
I feel like I've already made that decision because they are little kids, but until I get in the game and start playing and see, like, are they creepy enough where I can make that call? Or
well, you'll see, like when the big guy's attacking you, like little sister, just like he'll actually lift her up, put her on his back, or put her behind her, protect her, and she'll be shouting, "Unzip him, Mr. B, unzip him!" And you're like, she wants you dead, and you're like, and you start to be like, whoa, what am I dealing with here?
Right.
And you see they have these sort of glowing, these glowing yellow eyes, and they're going around singing their weird little songs. And so
it's like every little kid, though. Every little kid singing their weird little songs.
That's right. And it's really, it's an interesting, we try to put the player, our vibe is always, let's not tell the player what Bioshock is or how to play it. What moral choice to make. Let's put them in a world, put them in the coolest possible world they can imagine, and let them go to town. Let them tell us what the game should be. We think of it as player, it sounds like a marketing term, but it really drives our design principle, which is it's gamer-driven gaming, not designer-driven gaming.
Cool.
So we create the coolest possible playground and let them just go nuts.
Oh, wow. That was straight out of the Boston Museum of Science right there. That was a little lightning ball.
Oh yeah,
right
the other, you just mentioned the electro bolt. None of our powers in Bioshock are like, it's like an RPG power, it does 2d7 of electrical damage. The electro bolt stuns enemies. It temporarily shuts down machines. If an enemy is in water, it will cause damage as well. When you use Winter Blast and you freeze a machine, not only do you temporarily stun it, the water that you sort of have to rearrange in the liquid you have to rearrange in the hacking puzzle is slowed down because of the cold.
Cool.
Fire spreads naturally. Everything behaves as you'd expect it to in the real world. And we don't believe in just like fire damage. We believe in fire. And having an impact on the world.
How do you research? How do you research fire for a game? Do you guys just look at it and say that doesn't look right? Do you?
Yeah, it's everybody knows a fire spreads from certain, it doesn't spread to metal.
Right.
So there are basic rules. But visually, I think we were talking about our water effects before. You and I were talking before the show, and it's research. Both the architectural look of the game and the how to make fire behave realistically and look realistically, and water behave and look realistically. It's good research, and it's a talented artist who will spend a lot of time researching, and programmers spend a lot of time researching. I think the physics in Bioshock, one thing we learned when we were testing the game is people didn't realize that everything in the world is interactive. Like you can pick up almost every single thing in the world, everything can be turned to a weapon. And we started worry about how do we let people know, like he just picked up this shovel off the ground and now that's a weapon. Anything is a weapon. You can toss it. You can even pull an enemy's hat off his head with your telekinesis and toss it back at him 1,000 miles an hour. And he just knocked his hat off. You can then pick up that hat and use it. Even when he's alive, you can hold it off and use it as a weapon.
Odd Job style, take him down.
Yeah, you can hold it. Yeah, Odd Job, that's exactly right. Like Odd Job, you can even hold the hat over the fire, light it on fire, and toss it to somebody, and that would do more damage. And that there's a certain amount of sort of the players, because they've been playing video games for so long, who you don't expect to be able to do that. And our motto has always been, if the player in the real world can expect to do it, we want them to be able to do it in the game. You're
saying how you're 7 hours into the game more or less right now, but it seems to me like it's really easy to just get caught up in playing in the world for a while.
Well, that's one of the great things. It's just there are people who rush through, and Bioshock is a game with just nooks and crannies everywhere. Both exploratory, a lot of shooters I think of as sort of unwinding balls of string. They're essentially one long corridor that you sort of follow, where Bioshock is a much more open floor plan. And there's like nooks and crannies and places you don't have to go, and you can backtrack if you want, and the player can really get lost in the world. He can find all the little bits of story he wants and read every sign, and there are fortune teller machines you can go up to and
say I want to be big.
Yeah. and they give you some pretty depressing fortunes. The fortune teller actually knows what he's talking about. He's saying pretty negative things. There's there's slot machines in the world. Like there's just like so much detail in this world. One thing we haven't talked about is the research system. You mentioned that we have this camera. One of your weapons is a camera. You can take photographs of enemies in the world and various characters in the world, and as you get, and it's like it gathers research data for you. And when you pass certain thresholds of research, you'll be able to do things like learn some of their powers. Like one of the splicers can You can turn invisible and teleport around. You learn how to turn partially invisible from researching him enough.
Cool.
You can research a guy enough so you can eat the organ out of his body and get health from it. There's a, you know, as well as just being an amazing first-person shooter, I just don't think people understand that, or people can see how much depth there is. It could be in a first-person shooter because we're just so used to sort of playing the same thing over and over again with better graphics.
You're just talking about eating parts of people. How creepy does Bioshock get?
I think, you know, certainly the feedback we've gotten so far, and we made a game called System Shock 2 several years ago.
A couple people heard of that one, yeah.
And you know, we sort of took a lot of what we learned from that and brought it into this world. You know, it's interesting. You're wearing this, you know, you're wearing this Shining shirt, and the Shining was a big inspiration for us.
Thugboss.com.
Nice plug.
Thanks.
Well, Shining's a big inspiration for us. I think Rapture sort of feels a little bit like the Overlook Hotel, you know, this sort of place where all these ghosts of the past are still sort of lingering around.
Right.
And just that feeling, you come into Rapture through this plane crash, and you come into this room, there's a New Year's Eve party, we're in 1959, where clearly something went wrong, but the music from that period is still playing, and maybe there are sort of ghosts sort of lingering around the world. And I think the scariest thing of all are these splicers, who you can't really hear them. I don't know if your audience can hear them right now.
They can hear it all.
But when they're off in the distance, you hear them having their sort of interior monologues, because all these genetic powers have driven them crazy. And they're sort of talking, you know, some of them are talking to their children who aren't there, and thinking about, you know, the lives they've lost, but they're also all psychopaths. They're also psychopaths too, you know. You know, it's a strange, sad, terrifying world. And it's just got an incredible amount of detail. You hear the advertisements and the public service announcements from Rapture still going on. And you just, you know, so much of the game is sort of just uncovering, you know, the mystery of what went on here, as well as, you know, blowing the hell out of monsters.
Yes. Well, we only have you for a few more minutes, and I could keep asking my own questions, but I want to give the audience their chance to ask some of their own. Ryan Davis, more questions, please, about Bioshock. Hit us.
I've got a million of them. The one that I'm getting the most of, I'm going to credit this to Blair in Tallahassee. A demo for Bioshock. Is there one coming? When will it be here? Oh, God, please.
How to answer? I won't say there isn't one coming, but I won't say there is.
Are you guys doing the let's concentrate on the game first before we concentrate on the demo, which is so highly recommended for game developers?
We would never do anything that would compromise the shipping quality of the game, because that's what people are paying for. But, you know, we'll see about the other stuff.
Cool. All right. Ryan Davis, more questions.
Clayton in Waterloo, Ontario wants to know, how many special abilities will you have?
An insane amount. So essentially you have, you know, just to quickly go through some of these systems, we're not really showing some of the depth. You saw Walt brought up some of those screens, but they were a little, this is an older build, so they're a little broken. There are those powers in your hand, those plasmids. Those are, I think, 10 or 11 of those with multiple level variations. Like I think you said Electrobolt 3 or something.
Yes, that's what said 3. Yeah.
That get more variations, new hand art for them. So there's around 20 of those hand powers, and around 50 of the what we call gene tonics, which are these passive powers, like the invisibility power I told you about, or the ability to like search. There's a Scrounger plasmid which gives you gives you hyper focus to search things, and so you can search things. Like if you don't like what you get the first time, you can try again. Essentially, there's things that make you that makes your hand freeze. So when you do melee damage, you potentially can freeze somebody with it when you hit him with your pipe.
Awesome.
So they all have these cool, you know, graphical effects, or things that when you get hit by an attack, sometimes bolts of electricity shoot out from you, which we didn't steal out of Diablo at all. You know, there's just lots of there's like 50 of those powers in the game, and so you can. But you know, as the game goes on, you can you have to sort of choose where there's all these different tracks of engineering track. There's a weapons track, and there's a what's the third track? Oh no, we get combat track. And so you can choose how many slots you unlock on each track when you get the Atom from Little Sisters. So there's a huge amount of depth. There's the research system. There's the weapon upgrade system. There's just an incredible amount of depth with all these powers.
As spooky as the atmosphere is, as scary as the enemies are, I think what creeps me out more than anything about this game, and I can't wait to play it, is the hand animations you're talking about. There's all the stuff going on with the hands. You guys released that trailer of the hand getting chewed up, the bees getting shot out of there. It creeps me out. The plasmids just in general.
Well, we didn't want us to feeling like, I'm going to ensorcel you with a spell. Like, we wanted to feel like, man, you're altering your body. You know, like This isn't just some like weird, a goth chick getting piercings. This is, you're really changing the very nature of who you are. And we wanted those to feel strange and weird and scary. So there's there's a sense of a trade-off. Like that's why we did that video. You saw that bugs actually tearing their way out of your arm. So gross. And we want to be clear, both from as we talked about the game aspects, that these aren't just 2d7 of cold damage. They're powers that are real in the world. They want to feel real on your body, and that was the best way to get it across.
Cool. Well, let's get one more question from the audience. Ryan Davis, make it a doozy.
Man, you're killing me.
Doozy. I need a doozy. Oh. All right, 2.
2 more questions.
Fine. You talked me into it.
17 more questions.
Let's see here. That's the same one we had before. I just had one. I lost it. I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
We can go back to watching people get blown up while you look for it. It's okay.
Well, it's beating the crap out of the Big Daddy here with electric gel in his chemical thrower.
You got one, Ryan?
Mike Brown in Ohio wants to know what's stopping you from going through the entire game without attacking the Big Daddies.
Well, the only way you can grow, you can grow your character, in the plasmid system, you can still do weapon upgrades and research and stuff. But if you want to get the new plasmids, you want to get more plasmids, you want to extend your health bar, want to extend your Eve bar, you need Adam. Where's the only place to get Adam? From Little Sisters. How do you get to Little Sisters? You got to go through the Big Daddy first. And I will say that fighting the Big Daddy is just insanely awesome. Like, it's a roving boss battle that can happen anywhere in a level that you can totally set up, hack security, lay traps for him. Like all the setups we did for that ambush before, you can totally do that for a Big Daddy too. I would say, what you could go through I guess you could try to go through the game without it, but why on earth would you? Like, it's so awesome.
Ken, I'm sorry. This game looks awesome. It's Bioshock. We've been looking on the Xbox 360. You guys have a firm release date yet?
August 21st in the States and August 24th in Europe, PC and 360. One more thing. PC version, totally different team, totally custom interface. We're going to blow away any other game that ships on multiple platforms with how awesome and how custom the PC interface is, because we came from the PC background. We love PC games.
No way.
Yes way.
Awesome. I have to say, while we have you here, my favorite part of the new E3 is that when people come in and show a game and say it's coming out in August, coming out in September, coming out in November, that's so much sooner.
I know.
It's July. This is a month away.
A month away.
And it looks amazing.
A month away.
Thanks a lot, Ken.
Thanks a lot.
The game is Bioshock right now. We're going to toss it out to Homer in the field as GameSpot's live coverage of E3 2007 continues.